Hey builders, welcome back to another hands-on tutorial where we are building something awesome with XMTP and Coinbase Developer Platform's AgentKit. I am Pranav and today we are doing a live demo where we will create an AI agent from the grounds up that uses XMTP to interact with multiple users simultaneously. It will respond to commands like check my balance or send 10 USDC and we'll make it happen right here on screen. No pre-built repos or shortcuts today. We'll be starting from scratch, coding each file ourselves. Since we are using TypeScript, we'll be bootstrapping a TypeScript project to keep things smooth and robust. Whether you are a pro or a beginner, I'll break it down step by step and we'll link the timestamps in the description as well if you want to skip ahead. If you prefer to skip the live coding and jump straight into the working example, we'll link the XMTP chatbot example from Coinbase AgentKit repository in the description below. This example spins up a unique wallet for each user interacting with the agent, which is perfect for scaling. But for now, let's dive into building it ourselves. First, let's talk about what we are creating. XMTP is a decentralized messaging protocol. Think of this as private texting for Web3. Our agent will use XMTP to receive messages from users and send replies. And the cool part, it can handle multiple users at once, keeping each conversation separate and also performing on-chain actions based on what they say. Imagine this. If one user says, check my balance, and another user says, send 10 USDC, and the agent can respond to both of them instantly. We will be starting from scratch today. No GitHub repos, just pure code. We'll be setting up a TypeScript project, write the agent logic up, connect it to XMTP, and then do on-chain interactions using AgentKit. Now let's see a diagram and see how all of this connects. Before we code, let's visualize the agent workflow using a simple diagram. This diagram will show us the workflow of the agent and how the various pieces connect. So first of all, user messages through XMTP. So user can send various messages like check my balance or send 10 USDC to the AI agent, and this would trigger the AI agent, and the AI agent would process these messages using the message handler, which contains various components like LangChain to process those messages and AgentKit to perform on-chain actions. So once the message is processed, the actions are executed on-chain based on the prompt given by the user. And once all of these actions are completed, the AI agent sends a response through XMTP again. Now here, all of these messages and conversations are handled separately by agent using memory stores. And this diagram would be very helpful as we code everything from scratch. So let's start coding. We are starting fresh, so we need to bootstrap a proper TypeScript project along with its dependencies. So navigate to the terminal, and first of all, we will create the project folder. So mkdir xmtp agentkit, something like that. And we navigate to the project folder, agentkit demo. Once that is done, we need to bootstrap Node.js project into this folder as well. So we will run npm init-y. So this will bootstrap Node.js project for us along with the package.json file as well. Once that is done, we need to install the dependencies such as the TypeScript dependencies as well as the other dependencies as well. So I have the command here. So first of all, we'll install the TypeScript dependencies and then we will install the XMTP package as well, which will allow us to interact with the XMTP dev network. And then we install the LangChain and the Coinbase AgentKit dependencies, which will ultimately allow us to configure the AI agent. And after that, we have the .env dependencies as well, which will allow us to configure environment variables into our project. So we hit enter over here. So now let's bootstrap the TypeScript configuration as well by running the npx tsc init command so that it creates a ts config for us. So npx tsc/init. So we have configured the TypeScript configurations as well. So we have a tsconfig.json along with this configuration. So we will change these configurations once we are on the IDE. But for now, let's just move to the next steps. So once that is done, we need to create an src folder where all of the project files would reside. So we have mkdir src. And once that is done, we have the final step, that is to create the env file where all of the environment variables would reside. So we do a normal command, that is touch.env. So this has already created the env file for us, and here's where all of the env variables would get stored. Now we have finished the configuration of this project, and now we can move to the coding part. So let's start building our project. So first of all, let's check the TS configuration and the env file before we move on to the main chatbot.ts file. So in the TS configuration, just make sure that the src folder is included in the configuration and the known models folder is excluded from the configuration as well. And the rest of the configurations can be kept the same. It shouldn't be any problems over there, or you can just copy it from here. Now we can move to the env file where we will store the different environment variables. So first of all, we have the OpenAI API key, which we can get from the OpenAI console itself. Next, we have the CDP API keys, which you can get from the Coinbase developer platform console. And next, we would have the wallet key and encryption key, which we would generate later once we are finished with the chatbot.ts file. And we are here on Base Sepolia, so we'll keep the network ID Base Sepolia itself. And another important variable, which is XMTP env. Make sure you keep this in dev environment itself, as we are working on a testing and a development environment. So we should always keep this to dev when we are on the testing environment itself. So now we can move to the main chatbot.ts file over here. So we will build this file step by step, and we will break this into manageable chunks so that it's easy to understand as well. So we have already created the chatbot.ts file inside the src folder. So as of now, this is empty. Now we will add various different pieces of code over here, and we will go through it step by step so that we can understand each and every piece of code over here. So first of all, let's start by the imports itself. So I already have the imports over here. So these are the various different imports that we would actually need for setting up this chatbot.ts file. So first of all, we have the environment and file system imports, where we have the .env imports and the file system imports. Next, we have the Coinbase AgentKit for blockchain interaction. So we have the various imports from Coinbase AgentKit like AgentKit, CTP wallet provider, wallet action provider, ERC20 action provider, and various other dependencies as well. And then we have the get LangChain tools dependency as well from the AgentKit LangChain package. Once that is done, we have LangChain for providing various AI functionalities. So we have imported various packages such as LangChain core messages and LangChain LangGraph and the various other dependencies to make sure that the AI functionalities are properly set up. Next, we have XMTP for messaging. So we have various configurations and dependencies for XMTP as well, like the client, the signer, the decoded message, the XMTP env. So all of this is imported from the XMTP Node SDK itself. Next, we have the VM for blockchain wallet functionality. So we have various different imports from VM like private key to account and Sepolia, create wallet client, and various other imports. And last, we will initialize the environment variables by setting up .env.config. So now we are done with the imports, and now we can set up the storage instances and the various type definitions as well. So we just move to the next piece over here. So we have the various different storage constants and the global stores as well, and the type definitions as well. So each user that interacts with the agent would have its own agent wallet set up by the agent itself. The important thing to note over here is that the agent wallet is different from the user wallet. The agent wallet is set up by the agent itself to perform various different actions, and each user has its own conversation history as well, which is stored by the agent over here, and a different agent instance as well. So now we are done with setting up global stores for memory and agent instances and setting up type definitions as well. Now we can move to the part where we'll actually manage the wallet data. So first of all, there are three basic functions of this code over here. First is the ensure local storage. Second is the save wallet data. And third is the get wallet data. So this particular piece of code does three main functions. First of all, ensures that the local storage directory exists so that we can store this wallet data over there. Second would be the actual function which saves the wallet data to storage. So what this function would do is that this would save the wallet data as a JSON file. And third is the get function, which would get the wallet data from the storage when the user session is active, or the particular user session is active, it would get the wallet data from the storage itself. So now we are done with the basic configuration over here, and now we can move to the XMTP configuration part. So the first step in the XMTP configuration part is XMTP authentication. There are two main components for XMTP authentication. One is a signer for proving the ownership of the wallet, and second is an encryption key for encrypting and securing the messages. So there would be two main functions over here, which would ultimately provide us with the two main components for XMTP authentication. So I already have the code over here. So as you can see, these two functions would give us the two main components for XMTP authentication. The first function would create a signer from a wallet private key, and the second function would create the hex encryption key to XMTP format. So the signer would sign messages on behalf of the agent on XMTP, and the encryption key would secure the messages. Think of this as username and password for your agent. So we are done with the XMTP authentication part, and we can move to the next step, which is setting up the XMTP client. This XMTP client would be a gateway to the decentralized messaging network. So I already have the function over here. So this would initialize the XMTP client, and this would be our gateway to the decentralized messaging network where users can message to our agent. So first of all, we have some basic checks which ensures that we have all the required environment variables already set up. After that, we create the signer and encryption key, which is used to initialize the XMTP client. And we also sync the existing conversation from the network. And this function would return the URL from where users can chat with the agent. So now that we are done with the XMTP part over here, we can move to building the heart of our system, the AI agent. The AI agent would process messages from various different users and also perform on-chain actions accordingly. So here the initialize agent function would be the one responsible for initializing the AI agent in the chatbot.ts file. And this function is quite huge. So we'll be breaking down the code into various different manageable chunks to make sure that we understand each and every line of code. So I already have the first part of initialize agent function over here. So let's go through this first part and understand what it's trying to do. First of all, it will check if an agent instance is already set up for a user. So we have already discussed before how an agent instance is set up for each user that is interacting with this agent. So it will check if the agent already exists for this user, and if not, it will set up an agent instance for this user as well. And it will create a new OpenAI language model instance as well. So here we have gone with the GPT-4o mini model. You can go with any model that you like. And after that, we'll go for the wallet configurations. So it will get any stored wallet data for the user. So if the wallet data for the user is already being saved, it will use that particular wallet details itself. And if not, it will create a new agent wallet for the user. Once that is done, it will configure the CDP wallet provider with our credentials. So we have already provided these credentials in the ENV file itself. So it will use this credentials to configure the CDP wallet provider. And once that is done, it will initialize the wallet provider with this configuration. So now let's set up AgentKit and the tool setup as well. So this is the second part for the initialize agent function. So I already have it over here. I'll just switch it over here. So let's go through this part and see what it's trying to do. So first of all, we'll initialize the agent kit with the necessary providers. So agent kit provides you various different types of action providers, which you can directly import to your agent code and use it in your agent setup itself. So we have various different action providers over here. So first of all, we have the wallet provider, which should provide us basic wallet operations. And second, we have the ERC20 action provider as well, which will provide you various different ERC20 token operations like send, check balance, or many more operations like that. And you have the various different other action providers like CDP API action provider and the CDP wallet action provider as well. And this is not it. There are various other different action providers as well, which you can directly import from the Coinbase AgentKit library. So you can go to the AgentKit docs and see what are these various different action providers and how you can use it in your agent to increase the agent's capabilities. Once that is done, we'll convert this AgentKit tools to LangChain format so that the LangChain can understand this AgentKit tools and process them accordingly. Once that is done, it will also create a memory store for this user if it doesn't exist. And if it does exist for this user, it will already use that memory store for that particular user itself. And once that is done, we will configure the agent with all the configurations that we did before, like the agent kit, its tools, and the wallet providers as well. And now let's move to the third and the final part of the initialize agent function. This part would initialize the agent with custom instructions and save the wallet data and other memory instances as well. So I have the final part over here itself. So let's go through this and understand how it initializes the agent with specific instructions and saves the memory stores and the wallet data as well. So first of all, it creates the agent with LangChain. So here you can see the all the other configurations that we already created before being imported over here. So we have the LLM model over here, we have the tools, we have the memory store as well, and the final message modifier, which is a very important context provided to the LLM model itself. So here you can provide all the necessary details that provides the context for how this agent would work and what are the various different capabilities for this agent as well. So here you can see in the message modifier, these are the various details for this particular agent. So let's go through this once. You are a DeFi payment agent that assists users with sending payments and managing their crypto assets. You can interact with blockchain using the Coinbase developer platform's AgentKit. And here you can see the various different information provided to the LLM model so that it can understand what are this agent's various different capabilities. Once that is done, we will store the agent for future use as well. So context is very important when you're working with LLM models and AI agents like this. And once that is done, we will do the final step where we will export and save the wallet data and return the agent configuration so that this can be used in the main function itself. So now that we are done with the main agent initialization function, we can move to the next step, message processing. So message processing is mainly handled by the LangChain libraries itself, and we will create an function known as process message, which will handle the message processing part for this agent. So I have the function over here. So let's go through this function and understand what it's trying to do. So first of all, it will create an empty variable where the future responses will be stored once the request has been successfully processed. So we'll stream the request or the message through the agent. And once the agent processes this request, we will collect the response chunk and we will return the trimmed and the processed response to the agent itself. And in case if the agent encountered any kind of errors, it would return an error message as well. So we are done with the message processing part over here, and now we can move to the next step, message handling. We need to create a function that handles the incoming XMTP messages from the XMTP client. So we will create a process message function for this. So we have the function over here. Let's go through this function and see how it handles incoming XMTP messages from users. So first of all, we'll ignore the message from the bot itself. So any kind of messages that comes from the bot itself are ignored over here so that we can ignore any kind of potential loops or potential configuration issues or anything like that. Once we are done, we'll do a normal console log to see from where we have received the message, from which sender address was it, and what's the message content. Once that is done, we'll initialize or get the agent instance for this user, and then we'll process the message and get a response and send this response back to the XMPP client itself. And in case if this processing face any kind of errors, it will handle the errors gracefully as well. So we are done with the message processing and the message handling part over here. Now we need to create a function that will continuously listen for incoming messages from the XMTP client. So I have the function over here. So what this message will do is that this particular function will stream each and every message from the XMTP client and process it one by one. So before we move to our main function, let's validate our environment as well. So we'll add a validate environment function, which would check if all the environment variables are present or not. And if any of the environment variables are not present, it will exit with an error as well. So I'll add the function over here. So here it will check for each and every environment variables. And if any of them are not present, it would exit with an error as well. And now finally, let's create the main function itself, which will tie everything together. So we have the main function over here. So if we go to this main function, first of all, it will check and validate the environment variable and ensure that the storage directory exists. And after that, it will initialize the XMTP client and start listening for messages. And finally, it will start the chatbot itself. And that's it. We are done with the chatbot.ts file over here, and we were able to understand each and every line of code by breaking it down into more understandable pieces of code. Now, before we move to the testing part of this agent, we need to finish the final step that we discussed before. We need to generate the keys for this agent so that it can interact with the XMTP client. So instead of going through the hassle of creating this script yourself, you can get this key generation script from the AgentKit repository itself. Just navigate to AgentKit repository and then to TypeScript folder. And in the examples folder, you will find the LangChain XMTP's chatbot example, where in the scripts you will find the generate key script. Just copy this over and paste it in your project. So we have already done this over here. So you can paste this and can run the same script for your project as well. So let's run npx tsc so that we can compile this script. So once that is done, we will run the compile script so that we can get the keys from this particular script itself. Node, so we do slash generate. So if we run this, this should generate the random XMTP keys. Just copy this keys and paste it over in the env file itself. And that's it. We're done with the final configuration of the agent as well. And an important note, it's always recommended to generate ephemeral wallet keys for your agent, as these are much safer when you're working or testing with agents. Because working with actual production wallets or personal wallets might discard the safety for the particular wallets. So it's always recommended to work with testing wallets while working with AI agents to make sure that the agent wallet and your personal wallets are always different. And now finally, let's test our agent by running the chatbot.ts file. Before running the chatbot.ts file, we need to compile the TypeScript file though. So just run npx tsc over here. This compiles the TypeScript file in the dish folder. Once that is done, you can run the JavaScript file from the dish folder itself. So just run node this slash chatbot.js. So we were able to successfully initialize an agent on the XMTP dev network. So you can just copy this URL and paste it on the browser, and from there you can interact directly with the agent and send various different messages. So let's copy this URL and we'll just paste this over here. And here, before we move, we need to first connect a wallet. So we'll connect a wallet over here. We'll sign this message in here. And that's it. Now we can interact with this agent and can send various commands like check my balance or send 10 USDC and many more commands like that. You can even interact with this agent and send USDC to others, as we have configured this agent with Base Sepolia on gasless USDC itself. So test out this agent, explore this agent, and try to include more actions as well. And there you have it. We have built an XMTP powered AI agent from scratch in a proper TypeScript project. We bootstrapped the project, generated keys, wrote the logic, and added custom on-chain actions as well, all live. Now it's your turn. Add more features, add more custom actions, try to switch networks as well. Check docs.cdp.coinbase.com for more inspiration. Make sure to check our socials as well and check himlabs.com for more such tutorials. Got questions? Leave them in the comments. I will answer. Thanks for building with me. See you next time.